Hey, what's up, guys? We are live, back with the Run Experience Live Show, episode 3. I have some very special guests. They happen to be in town. Coach Elizabeth, how are you doing today?
Hi, doing good. Happy to be here.
We were just doing a little filming, and of course, Holly.
Hey,
She's
guys.
in the city, but you're usually working.
Yeah, I am.
You're training people and doing other stuff while you're
Trying to manage all of it.
trying to make the fitness money. We definitely
Exactly.
understand. Anyway, I want to make sure that you guys can hear us. If you can hear us, we're just got a little external mic going on. Just drop a little comment to say you can hear us all right. It looks like you guys are commenting and you can, which is perfect. Man, we had so many things going on these last couple weeks. We're excited to catch up with you guys and talk a little bit about it. And then, of course, we are perfect. I'm glad you guys are here. Audio is good. And then, of course, we will be taking your questions because we love to do. Elizabeth, I didn't talk about this in the beginning, but did you by chance bring any goat milk with you for today?
I carry it with me everywhere, especially when I know I'm going to be seeing you.
Okay. So
Yeah.
there is a little backstory, and I've actually really wanted to start like a nutrition show called like the Goat Milk Happy Hour. And what I wanted to do, because we had Elizabeth on a coaching call with some of our athletes a little while ago, and she was like talking about like nutrition recommendations, and she like went down this like list, and then she just like threw goat milk protein in there and just kind of kept going. And I was like, wait, like let's not pretend that that's not weird. Like, can we?
Or can I take a poll or something? I mean, how many of you guys have heard of goat milk or goat milk protein? Am I really am I in left field? Holly, have you
I've
ever?
heard of goat milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
not-
Have you had goat milk protein, Holly?
What is that kefir? There's like
So
those thickened like probiotic. I feel like they're
Ew.
not
not.
kefir.
No, not
Ew.
that.
What do we got here?
Ew. You're not milking the goat.
Michelle says love goat milk. Don't Run says I have.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate the community paying attention. I just get, because you get such a kick out of it, I enjoy it.
I just think it's the funniest thing ever.
What are
It's
the
just like,
benefits over?
so. It's more
See?
easily
She wants to
digestible.
know.
The protein has a higher leucine content, so a little bit better in terms of muscle regeneration.
Oh, okay.
It's usually more environmentally friendly. You don't get a lot of like antibiotic-fed goats.
ooh,
So it's
cleaner goats.
Yeah, you're
Cleaner source.
You're getting actually a higher omega count because a lot of times they're eating the grass and getting a lot of the bugs, and so not omegas, but more nutrients also because they're
Interesting.
more naturally fed. So
That's right.
There you go.
I mean,
Now we
Goat.
know.
you want clean goat sources. You don't want non-clean goat sources at all. That's no good at all.
Have you ever heard of like factory goat farming? No.
You haven't, not yet, until Elizabeth does such a good job of pushing the goat milk
We're gonna
industry
need
forward that all of a sudden, you know,
takes out.
you got goat farms.
Hey,
So
we'll see if it.
we need to preserve goat milk.
Do you think we could do some goat farming right in the park across the?
We're in San Francisco. We probably could do
There's
anything
chickens.
there.
Why not
Very
goats?
funny, clean goat sources. I know. I mean, you're a professional athlete. Like, where you get your goats from? You don't want to get popped by some
banned substances.
goat eating some
Goat-
special grass.
Goat whey is not on the WADA banned substances.
It may not.
list,
It may
so
not
we're
be
good.
yet. Goat milk's kind of nice, actually. It totally is. It totally is. We're being funny. Or maybe we are. Who knows?
Next, we're gonna start talking about like insect proteins, crickets.
Oh, yeah,
ants,
Oh, that's
That's
another
all
thing.
that stuff.
I'm for that. Like, I think that's just like smart. Like, I think it's like the humans take over everything. Like, we need to eat the bugs.
Okay.
That's the next thing. I'm totally down for that. But anyway, guys, as we digress a little bit, we are going to be talking about goat farms, industrial goat. I know the industrial goat farms are going to be a thing. But we just want to catch you guys up on what we've been up to. First and foremost, there's a link down below. Tomorrow is your last day to order your new TRE T Shirt. This is one of the older versions. We partnered up with a Territory Run company. They make some super rad designs. They did a limited edition design for us. We've only been running this for a couple weeks. We've already got a pretty full order, but we can squeeze a few more in. all you need to do is go to that site. They've got men's and women's cuts. Which color did you get, Holly?
I got both.
She got both. She got the hookup. But which color are you more excited about, the green or the dark?
I am more excited about the green one.
I think the green is nice. There's light green, like little V-neck, kind of cute.
It's very chic. Yeah.
And then there's a dark one. You know, you could dress it up. You could fly with it. You could really do everything. You could do your taxes in it. Like it's a pretty,
it'll be a conversation starter.
Starter. It's a pretty universal shirt. Definitely go check out the design. We're super proud of it, and we really love the Territory Run Co. guys. Definitely check out their site too, because they have a lot of great things.
You don't want to miss out. Fear of missing
we actually,
out.
Ben, we got the postage figured out, so it's significantly less. We are shipping worldwide. The postage should be down about half of that. And if you're having problems and want to get a shirt, email me or message me privately, and we'll find a way to get you in one, because we definitely want to spread the love as much as we can. That said, Craig and I were in New York last week in what I call camera camp. I know, it was fun. We learned all about like lenses and lighting and aperture, and that's a word.
Yeah.
F-stop.
I learned about that today.
And we got to practice today because we were out filming. Yes. So it was really cool. We won as a channel this Next Up YouTube award. And we got invited and flown out and put up for an entire week out in Chelsea of New York City, which was super cool. And we just spent a whole week like hanging out with other really awesome YouTube creators, learning a lot about higher production levels. We made a very silly video, you guys have seen it, with a white backdrop and a lot of silent acting. And I didn't even know, I think Craig's got a career in silent acting.
For sure.
Oh, he's so good. Guitars and balloon animals are in the video. I don't know how we worked that into Run Channel. It was definitely probably a world debut of balloon animals in a running video.
For sure, it has never been done before, and you guys are gonna love it.
Oh my god! Anyway, you guys are gonna love it. It's pretty funny. It's still brewing in the background on the edits, but that will be up there. That was kind of fun, and we are fast pushing on our strength program. We're getting our videos edited. I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for it. We're super stoked to get that out to you, hopefully in a couple weeks. Speaking of new programs. What else we got going on?
We have a new nutrition challenge coming up.
A new nutrition challenge.
You guys are going to love it.
50 different ways to cook with goat milk. Clear everything else out of the fridge. It's all goat milk. It's all going to be this thing.
It's all going to be goat cheese, goat milk, goat everything.
Oh my god.
No, this new nutrition challenge, it is a 4-week healthy habits challenge. So
love
it's something that everyone can do. I'm super excited about it. You guys are going to love it.
It's going to be really cool. I'm trying to read the comments as they go by. So if we don't see you, you can go ahead and drop a comment again. We'll make sure. Guys, I get glasses, and even this is super far away. Any videos soon on shin splint prevention and healing? We will get to your guys' questions. I think we actually have one coming soon.
Yeah.
Did we just do one?
I thought I've seen a shin splint
Guys, I think we just did one with Kyle. I cannot always remember.
That was the Achilles one. Oh, but maybe you have one coming up.
Was that the Achilles?
Yeah.
We have a shin splint video, guys, coming. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It is happening.
There's one on our Facebook page. Kirk did a small one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting that coming. I know I got derailed there for a second. Sorry. I'm having a hard time multitasking because I want to see the videos and your comments as we go through.
Is there just one quick tip about shin splints, or is there something like should they stop running until they see the video?
What do you guys think? You should never run again.
That's it.
Give it up. It was fun while it lasted.
Cuboid syndrome. You know, we actually talked to Kyle, Dr. Kyle Bowling. We've got some great stuff coming for some different like foot issues and everything else, as well as some shin splints. So that stuff is going to be really coming as well. What else here that we just got derailed? What were we talking about before? We were talking about the nutrition program.
Challenge.
So healthy habits, 4 weeks. It's coming out. We're going to start talking about it hopefully next week. and then we're going to be launching it 2 weeks later. The way to get into our nutrition program as well as to access previous ones is to become a training club member and to work with us, and you get to hang out with us all the time.
Yeah, and in the nutrition challenges, you get a weekly call like this. So technically, they could have this weekly call with you, the weekly call for the nutrition challenge. It would be TRE.
A lot of calls.
All the time, one-on-one.
All the time,
Yeah.
helping you become a better person. It's gonna be really, really good. So anyway, we're super stoked about that. And I think those are a lot of wrap-ups. So strength things, YouTube camera camp was great. Oh, we ran with some of you guys in Central Park. We did a group run. Craig and I and crew are going to be doing a little bit more traveling this year to some different races. So expect to see some shout-outs from us in terms of opportunities to come hang out and run with us, maybe get a beer with us or coffee with us, depending on the time of day. And those aren't always actually mutually exclusive because you can do both.
Yeah.
Kind of any time of day.
Especially if running is involved, Exactly.
Totally. So we're totally stoked about that. And now we will be going into question mode officially. Thus concludes part 1, and now we enter part 2.
News updates complete.
Let's see here. So we actually have a question from Gary, and I'm actually just referencing my camera here so I can see you guys because I can read this a whole lot better. Gary asks, did Elizabeth get to read the comment on the Facebook page about the eating times before run, 1:40 p.m., then run at 7:30 p.m., rice and chicken? I think he's saying that that's when he eats and that's when he runs. Would you potentially care to elaborate a little bit on any eating and running times?
Gary, sorry if I have not seen that or responded, but I think if what I think you're asking is kind of how much time in between eating and running. I think you have a night race possibly, and so that's where that 7:30 p.m. run is coming in. So yeah, chicken and rice is pretty much my standard pre-race meal, avoiding a lot of the fibrous veggies. So chicken and rice or chicken and potatoes.
So you're not eating like raw broccoli and kale. And
5 minutes.
That is absolutely
right
the wrong thing to eat right before. Same thing, you guys know I push smoothies. Smoothies probably not the best time before your race. Something that's gonna digest easy and stick with you. I like chicken thighs as opposed to just chicken breasts because they have a little bit more fat in them. So you'll get a little staying power with that. And I would say 1:30, you could probably get away with eating a little later. Or if you did that 1:30 eating, then try to get a snack in, some kind of more of like a carbohydrate rich snack in maybe 2 hours before. So slice of toast with almond butter and banana, some kind of bar, like picky bar or one of those.
And it goes without saying that we're not, trying the new, Chinese buffet down the street right before a race.
Absolutely not.
We're eating the Chinese buffet every week, and we're figuring out which works for us, and then we do that for the thing.
Or we're just making our own food and not eating at the Chinese buffet every week.
See, this is why I don't do the nutrition, because it'd be a lot worse.
Different.
But yeah, you guys, like, fine-tuning this and practicing this and dialing this in is good. I think he was also asking a little bit from a timing thing. Is it too big of a window between, say, 1:42 in the afternoon and 7:30 for a run? Maybe like a snack in there in between?
Yeah, I think you would definitely want a little snack in there in between. Most people need about 2 hours for easy digestible carbohydrates and about 4 for like a more substantial meal. So even if you ate that at, say, 3, and then maybe like 20 minutes before your race, give yourself kind of that boost. So, maybe toast with jelly instead, or like a spoonful of honey or something like that to really give you that kick right before. But let kind of digestion wise, your nerves are gonna be high. So that impedes digestion, so you might need a little more time there. Play around with it. Like, see if you ate the exact meal that you would be eating on race day at 1:30, and then see how you feel at 4, 5, and 6, and see
play with that a little bit.
What you think you need.
Perfect.
Hydration too. Make sure that chicken, rice, and a bottle of hydration mix.
Yeah, there we go. Such a good meal. A quick little update, guys, and this is Troy asking about our app. We're actually going through a little update of the app right now. So for those of you guys who are accessing your programs through the member aspect of the app, that is not accessible through the weekend, but it will be ready again on Monday. So we apologize for the inconvenience. In the meantime, you can still, log on to our mobile website, community.therunexperience.com, and either from your phone directly or from your computer, log in and you can access everything there. Just for right now, the app is getting updated, so we got that going on. But it ain't going away. Garland asks, doing the San Diego Marathon this Sunday, I expect to be done in under 5 hours.
Awesome.
Fantastic. How long after finishing should I wait to eat a full meal? I can tell you the opposite of what to do, which is to eat everything immediately. That does not go well at all. Okay. I kind of wish I waited a little bit longer.
Yeah? What did you go for immediately?
I drank a smoothie, like a yogurt smoothie, and then I ate some like bars and then something else, and then I got to the restaurant and I needed to use the little boys' room, the men's room for a little while.
Holly, what did you have after the marathon you did?
Super.
That was my first marathon.
Oh, okay. It's not that bad.
That was yesterday. That was after my 10K on Monday.
It's like 1 mile. 1 mile run. I usually go for soup. That's like chicken soup. It's just right. It's easy and it's nothing new to the body.
So just like a little broth and it
and
tastes
just like
good
a little
and everything.
Like noodles in there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That is a perfect post-race meal. So after your marathon, you're going to want to give your body a little chance to kind of rest and start to repair itself. So chicken noodle soup is probably one of the best things that, and I know if it's a hot race, might not be exactly, but cold, this is the one time that I'll say go grab some cold ramen because it has the sodium to help replenish. It's easily digestible, and then the chicken has some protein in it. So a lot of people think like, oh, I get to reward myself with the meal now, and actually the best time to reward yourself is probably the next day. Even though I know it's hard to kind of delay that, but at least give yourself 5 or 6 hours to get a really good post, whether you have like a recovery beverage, and then some soup, or even something as simple as like scrambled eggs. Hard-boiled eggs, that's something if I'm traveling to a race that I'll carry with me, and then I'll know I'll have that in my recovery beverage after, maybe a little banana or something. Rest, take a nap, get 5 or 6 hours in, and then go for a bigger meal.
Yeah. And I know that a lot of times if I push myself harder and it's warmer, your blood is not around your gut and your small intestines that's needed to digest. It is cooling you off. It's still in all of your muscles that just work so hard. And you literally will cramp up. Like you'll have a hard time eating. So letting that process happen is really helpful. One of the things that I like to do, especially if it's really hot, is to like get into a cold, like if it's near a lake, like jump in the lake, jump in the water. There's some races around San Francisco that finish at Aquatic Park, and literally you can like jump in with the legs. And not only is that great for the legs, but it kind of cools you off a little bit, brings that temperature down, brings blood back to your stomach, and then you can let the eating begin. Back to Chinese buffets.
Chinese buffet.
We should do that. How to like eat Chinese buffets
We should.
run.
It'd be great.
I mean,
I'll be absent for that.
No, we need you there.
She'll be crying.
Nice, cool comment. So Wonga says, thank you for your breaking 2-hour marathon tips. I broke my Brooklyn half in 1:55.
Awesome.
That was
That
us,
is
huh?
awesome. That was us.
Good job, Holly.
Ooh,
Eric
I see a
says, hey, buying a t-shirt. Love the shirt and the channel.
Yay.
Well, Eric, I just made our day. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for the support.
I don't know that one.
Oh, no.
Oh,
It's
no.
in the background. Alexa is in the background.
She's always listening.
She's always there. So
I don't know that one.
I know you don't know that one, Alexa. You can shush. Zachary
I'm not
says,
sure.
is it good as a newbie to associate cadence with speed, or should I try and focus on increasing stride length instead of relying on cadence to get faster? I love this question. We want to think about speed as like the two components of how quick my steps are and how big the steps are. And when we start teaching runners how to run with fewer, quicker steps, they have a hard time doing it because they all of a sudden have started running like 30 seconds a mile faster, which is unsustainable. And the trick is actually to teach yourself how to run with shorter steps. Have you guys tried this at all? Have you done this?
No.
What do you so Elizabeth here is training for an Ironman coming up, and Holly, we actually just signed up for a 50K yesterday.
Oh,
so
wow.
North Face Endurance Challenge 50K is happening. Elizabeth, are you gonna do one of the races? I don't want to put her too much on the spot, but
No,
we're doing
it's
a
on
TRE.
my list.
Is it on the list?
Yeah.
To do, but
It's in November.
they moved it
Yeah.
moved
earlier,
it to
right?
November.
Earlier, yeah.
So
I'll be healed by then.
we'll be
Yes,
talking
I'm
about that.
absolutely doing it.
But
You
how
heard
do
it
you
here.
guys like think about cadence when you run, or what are some of the things that like you like struggle with, or that's works?
So I
or...
learned from you back when I lived here and we were trying to work on some of my running that to pick up my cadence a little bit. So I learned to start counting and trying for shorter periods of time.
Right.
Just to start teaching myself the habit of having a faster cadence.
Right. So just first thing, and we've done a video on this, is just setting a baseline. If you're not sure what cadence is, guys, it's how many times one foot hits the ground in a given minute. And it could either be counted with both feet. So you might see a number of 160 or 170 or 180, and that's if you're counting both feet. I don't like to count that high.
Yeah.
I think that's a little crazy.
It's aggressive.
So it's aggressive.
You're thinking about other
it's too
things
much.
going on, yeah.
Too much. I like to count just one foot. So we would be looking at the number of 75, 80, 85, or 90. So go out and run and count for 1 minute and just don't try too hard, just what you normally do, and you set yourself a baseline from there. And then what you could start to do is play with your ability to increase that cadence by maybe 1 to 2 steps per minute. So let's say you're someone who's at like 80, you don't want to run immediately at say 90 plus, you might want to try running at like 82 or 83 or something else. What's up, guys? I know a lot of you guys are just chiming in. We are taking your questions. Drop them in the comment box and we will answer. Some of you guys have already done this. We have one more day to sell or to offer you guys, get you connected with our limited edition new design of t-shirts by Territory Run Co. They're super pimp. Description, first link down below, and you can go ahead and check it out. So back to our cadence thing. The biggest issue is that people have this like stride length that they have this lockstep motion they're used to, and it just sort of stays the same all the time. So when they increase their cadence, they're just going faster. So one of the ways to figure out how to run with higher cadence without going faster is to run in place.
Oh, well that's simple.
Easy, right? So I have no stride length, 0 stride length. And then what I do is I just like practice that, and then I practice running forward at a high cadence at like a 20-minute mile, barely moving, 15-minute mile. And I just get used to the rhythm of it. And then slowly what I can do is just slowly increase my stride length a little bit, and that makes things a whole lot better.
Okay.
So that's a great way to do that thing. I did talk about last week or the week before about stride length and how important that is. And if you're someone who's, say, like feet turned out a little bit, or your hip extension is a little stiff and your stride length is a little bit shorter, you are losing out on potential ground being gained, because all of a sudden your stride length that was maybe, say, let's say it's 36 inches, is now like 35 and a half inches or 35 inches. And, you know, especially if you're doing, say, a marathon, there's something like, I did the math on this the other day for an email. It's kind of fun. There's something like 45,000 steps in a marathon that you would take if your stride length was an average of 36 and a half inches. Most people are bigger, right? That's a pretty conservative one. So you take 45,000 steps. It's insane. And if you figured out how to, let's say your feet were a little ducked out and you were able to get your feet straighter, you gained a half inch there, and you were able to open up your hips for a little better hip extension and gain another inch. Let's say you gained 1.5 inches per stride for like kind of the same speed and effort. You have just saved yourself over 1,500 steps.
That's crazy.
Yeah, over the marathon. Do you know how many steps it takes to run a mile?
I do not.
Oh,
1,500 steps.
So basically, you're running one less mile.
In a way.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like you're just that much more efficient. So there's that relationship between stride length, we want to be optimal there. Stride rate, we want to be optimal there. I can go too far on either side, that's no good, right? I want to find that optimal mix. There's some people say this one number of like 90, it has to be 90,
Yeah.
It can't be one step above or below. I like to think about it as a range. You know, there are times where it might be a little bit lower, and there are times where you're going to be a little bit higher. If you are in that finishing kick and you're trying to outrun someone next to you, you might be finishing with a cadence of like 100, right? But it may be not sustainable. Let's say I'm running a mile and it's the whole race, I'm further up on my toes, everything is faster. Maybe I'm upwards of like 95, 98 the whole time. Let's say I'm doing a marathon, it's maybe closer to say 90. Let's say I'm doing an ultra and I'm out there for a lot longer. If I average in like hiking up the hills, everything else, it might be lower than that. But when our cadence starts to drop down from whatever where we started, it's usually a mechanical sign that we are fatigued.
Yep.
The shoulders, the breathing, everything starts to collapse. The cadence goes away. That's a problem. So that's why we want to work on those things. Let's see here. What else we got here? The osteoporosis experience. I think they were talking. Oh, that might be a goat milk reference. That's pretty good. Let's see here. Michelle says, I love your videos on hill sprinting and I've been adding them into my routine, but I've noticed hip discomfort. Am I pushing too hard or need extra strength in this area? Hills are my enemy.
They're everyone's enemy.
They are everyone's enemy. Well, Michelle, we'd want to know where the hip discomfort is. You know, if this is something that's in the front in your hip flexors or if it's in your glutes. Like, if you were like tight hips, what would you do, Holly?
For hills specifically? Well,
yeah. Or just, I mean, anything.
Yeah. Are you mobilizing? That's something to think about before and after your run, especially with hill repeats. If you're not, especially on the hip flexors, if you're not opening up those before and then you're just going to throw your hips into a hill multiple times, chances are something else is going to pull. We love foam rollers, lacrosse balls.
We just did a great handy-dandy lacrosse ball video with Holly that came out last week, talking about a lot of different places. In another area in your hips, which I like to call the side butt. She did a great job getting there, as well as in the quads as well. Our favorite thing is like the couch stretch. That's a great way to open up your hips as well. And the couch stretch is not sitting on the couch like a lump. Wish it were.
Despite the name.
What if you like lay all the way out and stretch your arms up above your head? Is that no?
And then close your eyes.
That's kind of my favorite.
But this
Which
also
one?
just.
Oh, I know exactly. Yeah, so totally
The
recline.
nap, the couch nap.
I was like, where are we going? I was like, oh, okay, the nap. I like the naps.
But even cadence for hill repeats too. That's something that always helps me is shortening the stride to get up the hill. You know, a lot of times you think you're gonna cover more ground, get up the hill faster if you take a bigger step, and it does not work that way. So in my experience, especially running longer up the hills, just bringing your feet more under your hips will put a lot less strain on those hip flexors especially.
For sure. I love that. I think that's really, really helpful. And that's just a great way. And you know, if we're going to do the hills stuff, like we don't need to do the hills every day, like maybe like once a week. In addition to with my other runs, if I'm doing something that's really hard and intense on that hill, the next day is maybe a little bit more restorative, lighter and easier, just kind of balancing the really hard work with the lighter, easier work. And as you adapt, you get better and make sure that you're super warmed up and everything is really good to go. So I love that.
So my coach always has me do hill sprints at the end. Is that when you recommend doing them? At the end of a run?
Oh, that's cool. How many are you doing?
10.
And how long is the hill?
They're 20 seconds to a minute, depending.
Okay. So is it more of a I'm just curious, like what, like, because you could do hills in so many different ways, right? You know, and I'm just curious, like,
so
for you, like, where
on the
it's
hill
fitting.
sprints day, it's kind of a aerobic type run for 50 minutes to an hour, and then we always finish with 10 or 12 20-second to a minute hill sprints, and it's basically sprinting up and then walking back down.
Yeah, so what's interesting about that is almost more of a neuromuscular stimulus of getting your legs to turn over really fast and getting your legs to engage, and like you're gonna get a little fitness from that, but I imagine they're not meant to totally beat you up.
So
like, I mean, how do you feel when you do them?
Yeah, not beat up. For sure.
Yeah.
There are some days like when he mixes them in with like a longer trail run or something when there's been a lot of hills. So that's more what you're saying is a strengthening.
A different version of the hills would be, let's say you did, 30 to 60 seconds, but that was like the main part of the workout. How hard is the effort for the like 20-second hills? Pretty hard?
All out.
All out. And how often do you do it?
Once a week.
Yeah. And is it like, because I feel like there's a big difference all out 20 seconds versus 60. So I feel like 60 is long.
Yeah.
20 seconds is, and then how much rest do you have in between?
However long it takes me to walk back down. So it's about a minute and a half.
Okay. Yeah, so if you were like sprinting all out for 20 seconds and walking down a minute, minute and a half, you've got like short work, longer rest. That's like good little like sprint stuff at the end, which is great. I would say like we've played with hills with our training programs and the training club. That would be hills that are like 60 plus seconds long, and it just becomes a little bit more of a grind. It'd be closer to like say running a 400 meter.
Okay, right.
Something like that in terms of effort and everything else.
And should someone start with less, like in the training club? Should they only do a couple of those? Like, do you have them start with 4 or 5 and then build to more?
I think that's smart. I mean, Jacob Reese says here, I do hill sprints with some friends every Friday morning. We call it Hills for Breakfast.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I think starting with less is always a good idea. Okay. Like 5 60-second hills is not bad. And then, we can build up there. Oh, hey, what's up, low battery? There we go. So that's not a bad place to go at all, guys, as we go through there, for sure. Let's move on to what else you guys are talking about here. So we have Julia asks, any tips on avoiding side stitches when trying to increase speed on further distance runs? Been shaving some time off my miles, but I get at least 1 side stitch per run. Do we have a video on this?
We talked about you and I up on the hill filmed one about side stitches.
Yeah.
It was a great video.
Yeah, Julia, we did a video a couple months back, probably in March, on side stitches for running. A lot of times that side stitch is actually your diaphragm freaking out a little bit and cramping up. So a huge component of side stitching is actually just inability to really control breath, or that starting to become a little bit irregular and spastic. And one of our favorite ways to get a hold of breath, one is just bring a little bit of awareness, a little bit deeper belly breathing. Some of you guys who have done, say, our Quick Start Challenge or have been in any of our programs know that we have you warm up often with 5 to 10 minutes of nose breathing before you go out the door. And that's a great way to get you breathing into your belly so that you are really getting that diaphragm functioning nice and smooth and fluidly, and it doesn't freak out on you as much. What about like liquids, hydration? Like, what's a component there?
So definitely if you feel the side stitch kind of lower down, that's often a sign that you have consumed a little bit too much liquid. If you have that kind of feeling of sloshing around in your stomach. So the tip that we gave in the video was shorter or smaller sips more often. So tinier, just a tiny little mouthful. and maybe every 5 to 10 minutes, as opposed to a couple big gulps every 20 minutes. So trying to get less in, so that it's a little more of a consistency. Practicing that is another way to do it, making sure that you're kind of training and teaching your gut to be able to drink. And also, if you've eaten, playing around with, the faster you go, a lot of times, your digestion slows significantly. So if you've eaten something before, your pre-run breakfast, let's say, 2 months ago, if you were running at a 10-minute per mile pace, that might have been fine in terms of digestion. Yeah. But now if you're running at an 8-minute per mile pace, that's a whole different ball game. So you might have to adjust either how much time you have or what you eat before your runs.
That's really good. So we have, let's see here, another question from Joseph. Any tips on coming back to running from shin splint injury? Should I pick up where I left off? 6 miles was my long run. Thanks. I would probably say not to immediately go back to where we left off. I would say that it would be good to dial things back a little bit. I fall prey to this too sometimes. The psychology with running is it becomes very much all or nothing in terms of your workout. And it doesn't matter if it's a 2 or 3 mile run or like, what are your runs right now for Ironman? Just like a weekday run. I know the longer ones are getting longer.
Around an hour or so.
About an hour.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes like if you like don't have time and you were to only run for 35 minutes, there would be like, if that were me, I would like psychologically struggle with that, right?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I'd be like, I don't really feel like I got to run. It was only 35 minutes long.
Yeah.
But for other people, like 35 minutes, like what, sort of the run. So it's like relative to you. But if you can be aware of that mindset and get away from it, what I'd much rather have you do, let's say 6 miles was your longest run, and let's say that took you an hour. I would rather you still work out for an hour, but your run occupy less time. And if you're coming back from an injury, especially a shin splint, take the first 10 minutes to do a little bit of light jogging, but stop and do a longer, more in-depth warm-up. We got great videos on our channel. Do some foot and ankle strengthening exercises, do some drills. Run for 20 to 35 minutes, and then finish off with, guess what? More drills, more strengthening exercises. You'll get a really quality hour workout in. You won't feel like you only worked out for just 35 minutes, but the run has appropriately taken a shorter portion of this piece, and that's really, really good.
And I can say, as someone that's been injured before multiple times, I finally learned the importance of doing the warm-up drills and the foot and ankle stability. It makes a huge difference.
A big difference.
And it's a good way to allow yourself to come back at the right pace, because it almost slows you down to the point of like, okay, I only have an hour, but I'm gonna spend more time, like Nate said, more time doing
and like retraining yourself.
Yeah.
Like the reason you got injured in the first place, a lot of times it's like a mechanical issue with how you were doing it sometimes. So it didn't come out of nowhere, like Nate always says. Like it usually is a buildup of how you were running or training before. So getting those warm-ups in, the drills and everything, they're beneficial.
Totally. So Running Guru asks, can you tell the difference from glute stiffness compared to piriformis? And piriformis muscle is just another muscle kind of collectively part of the side butt.
Okay.
That's deep in there.
We need like a human anatomy.
I know, right? I would say, it's one level, it's can be kind of difficult. Like if you really want to know, it would be good to get assessed by someone to get their hands on you so they could really tell the difference. The other one would be, it also, like, it doesn't matter, like if I am rolling out my hips, if I'm taking care of my hip mobility and range of motion, I'm working on all the muscles in that area, from the glute medius, the glute maximus, to piriformis, your TFL, like everything around that needs to be hit, I'm gonna be working on. So to a certain degree, it doesn't matter too much. It's good to know if you have an acute issue, that mobility is gonna show it anyway, and you can just say, hey, I am stiff in this area, I need to work on this no matter what, and so I can kind of treat it that way.
Okay.
It's almost like from a nutrition standpoint, I mean, it's like knowing the precise number of calories you're eating, or is it like, am I getting, it's like how important, like when does the breakdown of things not become useful?
Oh, okay.
Versus the collective, like,
okay,
I've got different colors on my plate, I'm eating well balanced, versus I've measured and, split apart every single thing before you go too crazy. Let's see here. Wellesley Verbeek asks, how do I train between races? How do I know what is enough to keep fit? And how do I know that I run too much? Some big questions right there. Some life questions right there.
It's bigger than running.
Yeah. I know, right? Oh man, we got all kinds of crazy stuff coming on in here.
Oh my gosh.
We got a lot of people talking about the planet. Which is important. Which is important
as runners, but
totally.
So, from a Nate's doing that. I'll say, that if you're running enough, I would say if you're not injured, if you're not exhausted, if you're still enjoying it, is probably a big piece of it. Yeah. Your body's not breaking down, it's not taking away from family and friends. And then, how far apart are your races? Something else to consider. And I know nutritionally, back-to-back marathons are probably pretty taxing on the body. So I always try to tell my clients that they need at least a week, because your immune system is really low after completing a race. So giving yourself at least a week or two, depending on the distance and how hard the day actually ended up being, to kind of let your body heal, let your gut rest before you start any kind of like hard training again.
Yeah, so, that's good.
At least a couple, a week or two, and then probably easing back into it is a good idea.
I love that. Well, guys, I think we are going to start to wrap things up, because we got, a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
And, we are getting a lot of planetary comments. And I think that's a good time to take our cue and see you guys next week for our next live show. We'll be giving you little updates, getting your questions, everything else. Meanwhile, we got to go finish filming. Thanks again, guys.
Thanks for watching.
It's fun.
That's it.
See you next time.
All right, cheers. Go buy some goat milk. You're going to love it.